All right, all right, all right. Good evening, good evening. Go ahead and type in the chat box where you're listening in from. This is Bitcoin Brandon from Los Angeles, California. And as a disclaimer, I'm not a licensed financial advisor to be giving financial advice. I read the news, give my opinion, share a suggestion, and it is up to you to make an informed, intelligent decision on which direction you want to move into. Still here in LA, and go this way. It is raining. Long needed rain. Almost a state of emergency for California. We're not used to water coming out of the sky. So that happens. But it's been a great day. I did a live crypto talk early this morning on Monday morning. And I said that I was going to go live again today to have a specific topic to appeal to every single one of you. And sometimes we don't want to listen to anybody else but the voice in our head. And the voice in our head is our own voice. What if you can listen to yourself? And so we're going to talk about that. And I promise you I'm not going to be long. I'm going to try not to be long. So I see we've got Neil Brooks on. What's happening, Pro? This Lofties, Corpus Christi. Neil is from Richmond, Virginia. I see Marnita Casa, the Connectors from Colorado. Yvette Neal, Valparaiso, Indiana. My man Stan Williams from Tampa, Florida. Hey, Stan, there is a huge crypto fintech event happening in Tampa on November 4th and 5th. Shoot a message to Peter Blackwell. I think he's going to be at that event. But that's going to be a huge, huge event, especially about with what we're doing with the batch nodes. So this weekend, I was wrestling and messing around with my youngest son. He's 14 years old, and he's almost as tall as me, and he's my baby. It's like just yesterday, I remember him, a baby, right? Always wanted to climb on me, wrestle with me, hanging on my leg, climbing on my back. But now that he's a teenager, he's a freshman in high school, you know, he doesn't want to do those things anymore. In fact, he thinks anything with me is annoying to him, right? And so I like messing with him. I like pinning him down to the ground and seeing how strong he is, seeing him squirm, trying to get away, and he is annoyed by me. And it is funny because I remember my dad doing the same thing to me when I was 12, 13, 14. And when I was a kid, I wrestled with him all the time. But as I became 13 and 14, I was annoyed by my dad. I'm like, will you leave me alone? You know, old man, blah, 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 blah. As an adult, looking back on that time, I have much love and appreciation for my dad and him spending time with me and him trying to wrestle with me and always asking me questions about my day, how school's going, what girls I like, you know, different things like that. At the time, it was annoying to me, but now I cherish it. You know, I think about those days, and if I could have a time machine and go back in time, I would really appreciate it much more than I did at the time. And I was telling my son, I said, you know, you're 14 right now. 15 years from now, 20 years from now, you're really going to cherish this moment. You know, the future is not promised. I don't know where I'm going to be 15, 20 years from now. But I told him, I said, you're going to really cherish, you know, the things that I'm doing with you and messing with you and the conversations I have with you. You don't know it yet, but you will. And no, you're old, you're annoying, leave me alone, blah, blah, blah. And I said, also, he knows I make YouTube videos, and I've got millions of views and more than I don't know how many videos. I know it's more than 1,000 videos I have, and videos from 12, 13 years ago. I think my first YouTube video was 2009. I think that's my first YouTube video. And so I told him, I said, you've got more than a decade worth of videos that your dad has, but he hears me talk all the time. So to him, it's nothing. But I said, in the future, you're going to cherish this library of information that your dad has created over the past decade. But you're not, your brain is not fully developed yet enough to be able to have foresight to understand that. Like, he thinks that every thought he has is the most original thought, and nobody's ever thought of it before. And I'm like, I know what you're going to think before you think it. You know, I know what you're going to do before you do it. I've had every thought you could possibly have, I've already done. You know, he don't understand that. But that goes into, now that we're adults, if you can go back in time 5 years, I'm 45. 5 years ago, I turned 40. And I remember exactly what was going on in my world when I turned 40. That summer I turned 40, that July 13th, I had just left a company I was with for 4 years or so, called 4 years, Shopping Sherlock, Sherlock Nation. I just left that company, myself, Peter Blackwell. It was a big move for me, because that company got bought out. A company called Vitel Wireless that I was with for 2 years, that retired and walked me off my job when I turned 36 years old. And so leaving that company was a huge step. In fact, I still got a bunch of awards from that company. Yeah, Sherlock Nation, Diamond Global Affiliate. Let's see, recognition for your sales and recruiting achievements. I got this one. Another global affiliate. Another one, recognition of your accomplishments, March 2015. I hit Black Diamond in this company, the highest position, and there was only 2 in the entire company, 1 or 2 in the world, and I hit that position. And a month after my 40th birthday, I lost my hearing in my left ear. It's called, what they called it was sudden rapid hearing loss, with no explanation as to why. They don't know if it was a virus or complications stem when I was born a premature baby, and I had chronic hearing loss or hearing problems when I was a kid. I still remember when I was learning how to talk, and I had to keep repeating, she sold seashells on the seashore. I think that's how it was. She sold seashells on the seashore. Like 7 words. I had to say it over and over again rapidly, because I wasn't hearing properly. And my mom realized it when I would say, instead of saying spaghetti, I say spaghetti, or I was pronouncing words wrong because I was hearing it wrong. And so they thought that it might be complications from that. But they still had no idea why I all of a sudden lost hearing. And then to further complicate it, I ended up getting tinnitus as well. So right now, I hate saying that because I don't realize it until it comes into my consciousness. And if you don't know what tinnitus is, it's this wind sound in your ear that's constant. And for me, sometimes it blows how my heart beat. So my heart beat, doo, 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 doo. So the tinnitus, like, in my ear, constant, like you're in a wind tunnel. But since it's been so long and my brain is used to it, I don't hear it anymore until I think about it. And since I brought it up right now I thought about it, now I hear it. But I remember I lost my hearing, and I remember everything I was thinking about life, turning 40. I wanted to be a multimillionaire. I wanted to have this. I wanted to have that. And now that I'm 45, if I can go back to 40-year-old me, what would I tell myself? First thing I will say, one word: Bitcoin. Bitcoin. If I can only say one word to myself, Bitcoin is what I would tell myself. Pay attention to Bitcoin. I didn't get on Bitcoin until 2016. So we're talking 5 years ago, when I made that move, when I left Sherlock, that was 2017, 2015, 16. And then I bought Bitcoin for the first time in 2016, October, but I still didn't do anything until summer of 2017. So a whole nother year later. So I lost a whole year 5 years ago. So I lost my hearing before I was in Bitcoin, a couple of months before I bought my first Bitcoin. And 2016. But I would tell myself, Bitcoin. All of us were around in 2010. If you had $100 worth of Bitcoin in 2010, that's worth more than $60 million today. $60 million today. If you could go back to 2016, 5 years ago, knowing what you know right now, what would you tell yourself? Now, I mean, that could be, a lot of you might think of leave that person, run away from that relationship, different, get checked up in the doctor appointment, check out your health, one of those things. But on a financial level, how many of you would say something to yourself about Bitcoin 5 years ago, knowing what you know now, that Bitcoin in 5 years would go from, because 5 years ago it was worth like $600 a coin, to $67,000 in 5 years. You do the math on that. Let's say you had $5,000. Let's do the math on this. I like dream mode. $5,000 in 2016, and Bitcoin was worth $600. You would have had 8.3 Bitcoin, and you put it away. Forget to even have it for 5 years. 2021, October 2021, last week, it got to $67,000 a coin. Your $5,000 would have grown to $558,000 in 5 years. Just think about that for a second. What would you tell yourself 5 years? But since we're adults, we have the ability to project. We have the ability to set goals. Where do we want to be 5 years from today? At 5 years from today, I'll be 50 years old. And it pains me to say that, because I remember thinking how 40 was such an old by being 40. I'm about to be freaking 50 in 5 years. So 5 years from now, I'm going to be 50. What would 50-year-old Bitcoin Brandon say to 45-year-old Bitcoin Brandon? What would I say to myself in this space, knowing what I know now, and then seeing what the world's going to be like in 5 years, where Bitcoin's going to be? What would I say to myself? I have a pretty good idea of what I would say to myself. And here's what that idea would be. Sell everything you own and buy Bitcoin. Don't spend anything except crypto. And I wouldn't tell myself to buy Bitcoin. I would sell all the other altcoins. I would probably know of certain altcoins that are going to explode that I don't know of right now. So I might tell myself a name of like Solana or Shiba or ADA or Ethereum or Ripple. I might say one of those things, but the bottom line is it will be crypto. Put everything, don't buy nothing, sell your car, live like a pauper, eat beans and rice for 5 years. Sacrifice everything for your family and your legacy, because what you do is going to change your family tree for the next 100 years. That is what 50-year-old Brandon would say to 45-year-old Brandon. But 45-year-old Brandon, even knowing this, I can't do that because I have a family, I have a wife, I have children, and they don't understand what 50-year-old Brandon will be talking about. What do you mean sell everything? What do you mean sell the car? What do you mean don't take vacations, don't buy stuff, put everything into crypto, sacrifice for 5 years? They wouldn't understand that. But 45-year-old Brandon, I do. So knowing what I would say to myself, I can still make the necessary adjustments. I can make the necessary adjustments. So I live conservatively. I can afford to do a lot, and I don't. The only expenses that I spend on outside of family is for business. I'll get all my toys and all that other stuff later. But right now, it's all about accumulation. Accumulate. Accumulate as much crypto as you possibly can. Set yourself up with a budget. One goal I shared earlier is to have at least $100,000 worth of crypto as fast as possible. I don't care what tokens or coins you're holding. Have $100,000 worth of crypto. Because in 5 years, that $100,000 in 5 years could be worth anywhere between 5 to 10 million. Do you understand what I'm saying here? That $100,000 worth of crypto you have today could be worth 5 to 10 million in 5 years. 45-year-old Brandon, if I was working a 9-to-5 job, I will retire in 20 years from now when I turn 65. If I'm working $75,000, if I'm making $75,000 a year, putting in 40 to 60 hours a week with only 2 weeks vacation and no raise, if I'm lucky to never have to pay taxes, that leaves me with $1.5 million. Every dime I will spend between now and 65 would come from that 1.5 million before taxes. But I can accumulate $100,000 worth of crypto, sit on it for 5 years, and that'd be worth $10 million in 5 years. By the time I turn 50, that's a better retirement plan. Because at my age and people that I know my age, we got to start thinking about retirement. We got to start thinking about quality of life with our health. You know, I'm hearing far more about funerals than I am weddings. I'm hearing about people my age and younger that are now grandparents. That's freaking me the hell out. I know people that are grandparents that are my age. It's like I just had my kids yesterday. My oldest is 22. I was 22 years old when I had them. So we got to start thinking about what type of quality of life we want to have for the rest of our lives. And the actions we take now, since time, I hate to say it, but we're coming on the back end of our life. You know, when I was in 25 and 30, I'm like, shoot, I still got a whole lot, you know, in the world. Life is not promised to us. Tomorrow's not promised to us. So I got to start thinking about not only quality of life for myself, but what am I going to leave for my children, my future grandchildren, and their children. The rest of this century is what I'm looking at. We're already in 2021, so we've got about 79 years left in this century. How's my family's portfolio going to look? And if it's gotta be, it's up to me. I have a very, very large family. My cousin Marnita and I, we got, God dang, I still have a gang of cousins I've never even met. My great-grandmother had, I don't know, my grandmother had 10 or 11 brothers and sisters. I think her mother had another 7 to 10 siblings. Her brother, my Uncle Leroy, had, I don't know, 8 or 9 kids, maybe more. And my generation of cousins, there could be 100 of us. I don't know. But all I know is it only takes one in the family to change the family tree. It only takes one. And I'm going to be that one. And I've got I have successful family members, but I want to be the one to go far beyond anybody in my family since slavery has ever gone. And I only have a small window of opportunity to do that. So 50-year-old Brandon, I already know what the message is to me. 45-year-old Brandon on the financial side. So everything I do in my power is going to be to fulfill what future me will say. So I don't miss out like I did with 40-year-old Brandon that didn't have the same information. 40-year-old Brandon didn't have the same information or knowledge that I know right now. And if I could go back and have a conversation with 40-year-old Brandon, I'd say, young man, listen here. Not enough with any of the foolishness. Crypto, everything into crypto. And then watch where you'll be in 5 years. So 45-year-old Brandon, I know what to do for the next 5 years. And we need to make money. I know a lot of you guys might say, well, Brandon, that sounds good, but what if I don't have the resources? I don't have the money. I know what the future is going to be. And I'm frustrated because I don't have the money to take full advantage of it. I don't have $100,000. I don't know how I'm going to get my hands on $100,000. This is where you start making decisions to figure out how to put yourself in a position to earn it. I started with $30. Put yourself in a position to earn it. There's so many opportunities out there. There is not a lack of opportunity. Nobody could ever say, I didn't have an opportunity. That's impossible. There's so much opportunity. It's more of a question of which one do I want to put my attention on? Because the grass, people think the grass is always greener somewhere else. The grass is green where you water it, where you put your focus and attention on. So I look at it like this. If I see something where people are making a whole lot of money in it, then that means I can do it as well, if I'm willing to put in the work and to learn. So find vehicles where an unlimited supply of money is being generated. Put your head down, go to work, and generate that. And then use that to build your portfolio. And I'm glad that this is something that's being recorded, because I'm going to put this on YouTube as well, so that my children and grandchildren, they can go back and say, can we pinpoint an exact time where things changed in our family's life forever? And they're going to be able to go back and see these videos. Yeah, this is when, Grandpa Brandon made this decision and took action. Because you know what I don't want to happen? For my grandchildren to say, dang it, man, my grandpa was alive when this whole Bitcoin thing first got started. He even talked about it and didn't take action on it. And that's why we living like we are now. We broke his hell because grandpa didn't take action when it. See, history is recording all of this. You want your descendants to go back on your social media timeline when the greatest financial revolution was taking place, and they see you making TikTok videos and stupid selfies with filters for Instagram. That's what grandpa and grandma was doing back then when the greatest financial revolution was taking place. They arguing about vaccines and COVID and politics and religion when the greatest financial revolution was taking place. They talking about what they had for dinner last night. That's not the legacy I want to be able to leave. I want them to say, even if I fail, at least he tried. At least he went after it. They'll never be able to say, I didn't go after it. At least he tried. I can deal with failure trying. I can't deal with not even giving it a shot. I Can't live with that. So that is my message for tonight, that you're going to have to ask yourself, put yourself in the future. You guys remember Back to the Future? You know, that was made in 1985. They went to the future 30 years. That was 2015. Where's my hoverboard? I think it was Jimmy Kimmel line or Jimmy Kimmel, or I don't know what night show, but they had Doc and Michael J. Fox in 2015 come on to the show, and they're like, Marty, we made it. We're 30 years in the future. But one thing we all have now that wasn't predicted was the cell phones, internet, social media stuff. They didn't even predict that in the future. So what will your future self tell you right now? Will you accept what you're being told? And then will you take action on it right now? Only you can answer that. And the only voice you may listen to is yours, not mine. Listen to your voice. What would you say to yourself? All right, so that is it. I want you to enjoy the rest of your evening. There is one money-making opportunity. I'm not even doing the presentation, but there's a presentation tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. If you go to, well, let me pull up the link and I can post it in this chat box. It's another way to really change your life. I am live right now. That's another way to really change your life. I'm going to go to WCLonthego.info. Okay. 9 p.m. 30 minutes from now, there's going to be a presentation. Who's doing it? Maybe I think Eric Carter. So I'll copy this link and I will put this in the chat box. If you're looking for a money making opportunity, but more importantly, another token that you can get your hands on, I'll share this. If anything else, I put 15K on this token called IMC. I now have 46,000 tokens. Right now it's worth 37 cents. I cannot guarantee what it's going to be worth 5 years from now. I can't guarantee that. All I know is the token goes up by 1 penny every week and a half. Soon it's going to be 38 cents. I got it when it was like 30, 31 cents. But I can project. And 5 years from now, what if this token is worth 50 bucks? 50 bucks. Let me just do the math. And I spent 15K on it, and I got 46,000 tokens. And it's worth $50. That's 2.3 million. So by the time I turn 50, it's worth $50. That's 2.3 million. Isn't that better than working 20 years at 75,000 a year to get 1.5 million before taxes? But what if 5 years from now, 46,000, it's worth $200 a token? That's 9.2 million. I'm just saying, that's just one opportunity. And that presentation is going to be at the top of the hour. And I pasted the link if you want to take a look at it. I don't care about the affiliate side. Great. Right now, money to make to use to purchase more tokens. I care about the token that it represents. So that's another opportunity. That's another possibility. No guarantee, but it's a possibility. Just give me a chance. All right, everybody. I thought I was going to do this in like 5 minutes, and I think I went more than 30. So I apologize for that. But I will be back tomorrow. I'm doing Twin Turbo Crypto Talk. By the way, Twin Turbo is being redesigned into iLearning Crypto. And that should probably be ready by November 1st. Another way to make money. We got the batch nodes. Another way to make money. You've got people that's made more than $50,000 in 30 days. Remember I said one goal is to have $100,000 worth of crypto We have a woman that's made more than $120,000 in less than 60 days. Put 20,000 in your bank, put 100,000 in crypto, and sit on it for 5 years. All right. So with that, oh wow, Neil, I appreciate your honesty. I'm 72 years old, and I felt I missed the boat, but you gave me hope again. Thank you for that. You're also a Cancer. Neil, you're 72 years young. 5 years from now, you'll be 77. Imagine what you can do and leave for your family. You still got a lot of time to enjoy. You know, what if we scale that down from 5 years? What would 2 years? What would 2024 version of you say to yourself today? Just 2 years from now, because the crypto's going to jump. It's a $2.6 trillion market cap right now. All experts are talking about it going to 8 to 10 trillion in the next 12 to 14 months. Bitcoin going to 200,000 a coin in the next 12 months. That's just 2 years. But you got to take action right now. You got to do it right now. So with that, take care, everybody. I'll see you if you're going to hop on the presentation in 30 minutes. And I'll be back for Twin Turbo Crypto Talk, which will turn into I Learning Crypto in the next week or so, tomorrow morning, for the Twin Turbo community in the Twin Turbo page. I'm probably going to I'm going to do it on the public page too, for people that are not in Twin Turbo. If you go to the home page of Twin Turbo, you'll be able to see the Crypto Talk tomorrow morning. So take care, everybody. Bitcoin Brandon out. Bye-bye.